There's a glow from the alley that stripes my wall, a silent pink heartbeat when the shadows fall. It's the last living relic of a wilder night, when we were all volume and electric light. We chased that buzz like it was something we could catch, a cure for the quiet, a match to strike a latch, to swing open into a world less black and white, drenched in that artificial, beautiful, forgiving light. We lived on a neon pulse, a vibrant, trembling wire, everything faster, everything higher, a symphony of taxis and a bass line in the chest, a constant thrilling promise of what came next. But the colors, they can bleed, and the currents, it can fade, leaving just the outline of the choices that we made. Now I trade the dizzying, dazzling, blinding show for the slower, deeper rhythm that I feel beginning to grow. I walk the same streets now in the honest dawn, when the buzz is just memory and the bright signs are gone. I see the cracks in the pavement, the names in the grave, a different kind of poetry arriving late. I order one coffee and I drink it slow, with nowhere left, I'm burning, burning, burning to go. And the silence isn't empty like I feared it'd be, it's just a spacious room where I'm beginning to see me. We lived on a neon pulse, a vibrant, trembling wire, everything faster, everything higher, a symphony of taxis and a bass line in the chest, a constant thrilling promise of what came next. But the colors, they can bleed, and the currents, it can fade, leaving just the outline of the choices that we made. Now I trade the dizzying, dazzling, blinding show for the slower, deeper rhythm that I feel beginning to grow. And sometimes on a humid night, I'll hear a bass line bleed through an open door and feel the pull of that old hungry need to be anonymous and brilliant in a room of glancing eyes. But then I look up at my window, see that soft pink, steady prize, and I think of you, my constant flickering, forgiving friend, who witnessed every stumble, every start, every end. And I realized the pulse wasn't out there in the street, it was the frightened, fighting heart just trying to find its beat. Neon pulse, now just a gentle thrum, a reminder of the wild I had to come from to get here, to this quiet, to this clear, just a soft pink signature in the atmosphere, my own steady, quiet signature. Minnesota, I was buying time with the city asleep and the rain in its prime. You said my name like you tasted it first, and something in my circuitry burst. A sweetness on my tongue, a current in my veins, a language made of lightning, speaking in soft refrains. You're my electric sugar, my chemical surprise, a voltage made of velvet right behind my eyes. You short circuit my logic, rewrite all my code, a taste I can't unknow, a lighter, brighter load. You're the buzz in the silence, the glow in the gray, a delicious kind of chaos that I'm learning to obey. A feeling so brand new, it doesn't have a name, just electric sugar running through my frame. You kiss me in my kitchen and the overhead light hums, a low domestic frequency as the nightly quiet comes. You talk in constellations, in zeros and in ones, and build me up a paradise from two borrowed souls on the run. Your hand fits in my hand like a completed perfect chord, a harmony I never knew my life was moving toward. You're part future, part fairy tale, and completely wildly true. My favorite contradiction, I'm unraveling into you. You're my electric sugar, my chemical surprise, a voltage made of velvet right behind my eyes. You short circuit my logic, rewrite all my code, a taste I can't unknow, a lighter, brighter load. You're the buzz in the silence, the glow in the gray, a delicious kind of chaos that I'm learning to obey. A feeling so brand new, it doesn't have a name, just electric sugar running through my frame. And maybe love's not just a gentle, steady stream. Maybe it's a power surge, a wild, fantastic dream of synapses firing in a brand new, brilliant art, connecting mind to mind and soul to soul and heart to heart. So let the old world think in black and white and plain. We've got a neon garden blooming in the rain, a circuit made of trust, a feedback loop of yes, a beautiful live wire of pure happiness. Electric sugar, keep flowing, keep it sweet. This rhythm in my chest, this unexpected beat, my perfect sweet, electric new and true. Starten go to their left out the door. All that's left is quiet and this tired wooden floor. And the scattered, stubborn evidence of all our wild attempts to celebrate the ending of a year of mere pretense. I'm on my knees with masking tape, picking up the tiny stars that caught in every crack and seam, these shiny silver scars from the balloons we popped at midnight, from the confetti cannon's roar. Now it's just me and all this useless, beautiful glitter on the floor. Oh, the glitter on the floor, it winks up like 1,000 tiny lies, reminding me how magic always fades before your eyes. It sticks to everything, my socks, my palms, this baking in my chest, the aftermath of happiness, blood cruelly to the test. We swept up all the bottles, threw the paper plates away, but this defiant, sparkling dust is determined it will stay a galaxy of what was on these battered midnight plates, just glitter on the floor, and a silent chorus of my thanks and my regrets. Maybe it's not meant to be cleaned, not completely, not so soon. Maybe it needs to catch the light of the morning's different moons, a The echo of the sun we tried to sing are all just different facets of the same reflecting The doctor said my heart is fine, a steady 84. But I've been feeling quiet, numb down to my core, as if the world switched off its sound or put me on delay. Just going through the motions of an ordinary day. I stare at conversations like I'm reading subtitles through a wall of silent, thick, invisible glass. I miss the crazy music, the unplanned symphonies, the buzz of being part of living, breathing things and trees. Then I feel it when the rain hits in a certain syncopated pour, and I hear it in the silence right behind the slamming door. A low and steady bass line from a time before my name. It's the rhythm in my veins, oh, the rhythm in my veins. It's the hum of city wires, it's the turning of the page, it's the courage in the quiet of an empty waiting stage. It's the echo of a meaning I can't logic into sense. It's the ancient sweet persistence, the rhythm in my veins, my own defense. I found it in the clacking of the train tracks late last night, a metallic lullaby beneath the cool blue subway light. I felt it in the vibration of the guitar in the square, a stranger's song connecting with the oxygen I share. And in the steady typing of my thoughts onto this line, a cadence that is finally mercifully mine. It's not a shout for attention, not a desperate blazing fire, but the gentle firm reminder of my own electric wire. Then I feel it when the rain hits in a certain syncopated pour, and I hear it in the silence right behind the slamming door. A low and steady bass line from a time before my name. It's the ancient, sweet persistence, the rhythm in my veins, my own defense. And maybe being alive isn't about the constant high, but hearing your own soundtrack as the world goes rushing by, and trusting that the melody, however faint it seems, is still a part of everything and woven through your dreams. So let the chaos orbit, let the silent moments stay. My heart's the humble drummer, and it's finding out the way. 1, 2, just the rhythm in my veins, the gentle, sure reclaiming of what never really wanes. My constant, quiet, personal, and beautifully plain. Reclaims it, the rhythm in my veins. The rhythm in my veins. My rhythm in my veins. Hits 5, the screen goes black. I shed the office world like a heavy coat off my back. Trade the heels for scuffed up, trusty, broken boots, and the buzz of the city for a different kind of roots. You meet me at the curb, the weekend in your eyes, a map of back roads folded, a compromise between the need for quiet and the need to feel the beat of a different, wilder, more 'cause we're just weekend warriors with ordinary jobs and plans, doing what we can with these two empty hands to carve out a piece of a simpler, wilder truth in the sacred ticking hours of our restless youth. We're chasing sunsets down 2-lane dusty roads, lightening the weight of our unspoken codes. For a couple of days we trade our chains for open doors. Yeah, we're just weekend warriors, but baby, what we're fighting for. We pitch a tent in the fading golden light, or just drive with the windows down into the night. The radio plays our forgotten teenage dreams, and for a little while nothing's quite as hard as it seems. We talk about the future with less fear and more might, under a blanket of stars instead of fluorescent light. We build a tiny fire from the kindling of our stress, watch it burn down to a glowing quietness. 'Cause we're just weekend warriors with ordinary jobs and plans, doing what we can with these two empty hands to carve out a piece of a simpler, wilder truth in the sacred ticking hours of our restless youth. We're chasing sunsets on 2-lane dusty roads, lightening the way It's a recalibration of love, no to our souls, a small sustained vibration that says we're more than just the titles that we earn. We're a fire that's determined to burn. Weekend warriors, just holding on to the spark, making our mark in the Friday to Sunday dark. And the light, it's enough, it's more than enough. I found it in a shoebox beneath a stack of letters, a plastic case, a faded label from when we knew better than to trust the digital, the cloud, the endless stream. We held our history in our hands, a tangible daydream. I press play and hear the hiss, the prelude to the song, and suddenly the years between feel paper thin, not long. It's your voice, a little younger, saying testing 1, 2 before the chords kick in, and I'm right back there with you. So don't stop the tape, let the hiss fill up the room, let it carry me back to the bloom of our soon. Forever let the guitar string buzz, let the vocal waver and break for all the clumsy, perfect, real mistakes we'd make. Don't stop the tape, let the melody unwind, the soundtrack of the us we had to leave behind. I know the other side is blank, I know the end will scrape, but just for 5 more minutes, please don't stop the tape. You recorded over something, a radio hit the news, but beneath our chorus faintly some forgotten singer's blues, a ghost track of the world before we ever pressed record, a secret layer meaning that we never could afford. But I hear our laughter in the bridge, unplanned and crystal clear, a moment so authentic it still banishes the fear that it wasn't real or deep or true, as it resides in this dusty plastic artifact where our old magic hides. So don't stop the tape, let the hiss fill up the room, let it carry me back to the bloom of our assume. Forever let the guitar string buzz, let the vocal waver and break for all the clumsy, perfect, real mistakes we'd make. Don't stop the tape, let the melody unwind, the soundtrack of the us we had to leave behind. I know the other side is blank, I know the end will scrape, but just for 5 more minutes, please don't stop the tape. Maybe memory's not a picture, sharp and framed and still, but a frequency of feeling that a certain song can fill. And this worn out winding ribbon with its fragile trembling sound is the closest thing I have to turning back time around, to touch the past, not to live there, just to know it's truly sealed, a love that was undeniably, imperfectly real. Let it run to the very empty shape. I didn't stop the tape. The diagnosis was a stone tied to my feet, a cold hard fact dropped in the sheets. The world took on a weight, a sharp and sudden pull, as if the ground itself was turning viscous, turning full of quicksand made of pity and statistics and of fear. I could feel the heavy orbit of the ending drawing near. I saw it in the way you looked at me, so carefully, so kind, like I was made of glass already left behind. But love, you built a rocket in the quiet of our room, from whispered hopes and stubborn joy that shattered all the gloom. You held my hand and said, look up, and taught my heart to fly. When every cell was screaming, it was time to say goodbye. In the face of every falling, you were my upward tide. With you as my propulsion, I have gravity defied. Not a cure, not a miracle in any textbook sense, but a beautiful suspended, breathless present tense. We planted seeds in cups, we watched their fragile green unfold. A tiny act of future, a story to be told. You read me silly poems that made my weakened body shake, with a laughter that felt lighter, an earthquake I could take. We mapped the constellations from our fortress on the bed, and you made up new legends for the stars above my head. You didn't fight the illness, you just quietly outshone its shadow with a brilliance that was entirely your own. Yes, love, you built a rocket in the quiet of our room, from whispered hopes and stubborn joy that shattered all the gloom. You held my hand and said, look up, and taught my heart to fly. When every cell was screaming, it was time to say goodbye. In the face of every falling, you were my upward tide. With you as my propulsion, I have gravity defied. Not a cure, not a miracle in any textbook sense, but a beautiful suspended, breathless present tense. And I don't know what tomorrow weighs, I can't predict the fall, but I know the love we've launched here has rewritten nature's call. For however long I hover in this unexpected space, I am lifted by the galaxy I see within your face, where gravity is not a law, but just a gentle suggestion, overruled by a connection, a profound unanswered question of what we can become when we refuse to be defined by the pull of the dark towards the cold, unfeeling ground. Yes, love, you built a rocket in the quiet of our room, from whispered hopes and stubborn joy that shattered all the gloom. You held my hand and said, look up and taught my heart to fly. When every cell was screaming, it was time to say goodbye. In the face of every falling, you were my upward tide. With you was my propulsion, I have gravity defied. Not a cure, not a miracle in any textbook sense, but a beautiful suspended, breathless presence in simple fact, a beam of steady white, my dependable morning, my companion through the night. I loved you in a single shade, a faithful, true and plain, a comfort like a steady field of softly falling rain. I thought I knew your every hue, your predictable design, a love that was unwavering, completely wholly mine. But then the storm came howling in, a darkness sharp and deep, and in the shattering, a different promise you did keep. You became my prison light when the world went gray and cold. You took the single blinding pain and bravely, gently told a story in a spectrum, on the wall and on the floor, of indigo resilience I had never seen before. A streak of amber kindness and a crimson fierce defiance, a green slow growing hopefulness that defied the silence. You showed me love is not one shade, it's the breaking and the bending, and the beautiful, surprising, blinding rainbow of the mending. I saw you in the hospital, a stripe of lemon sun you painted on the windowsill when all my hope was done. You were the violet patience in the long and endless wait, the silver thread of humor at a devastating date. You held my hand, and in your grip I felt a copper glow, a warm and steady current that refused to let me go. You didn't fix the broken thing, you didn't make it right, you just transformed the darkness into complicated, stunning light. You became my prison light when the world went gray and cold. You took the single blinding pain and bravely, gently told a story in a spectrum, on the wall and on the floor, of indigo resilience I had never seen before. A streak of amber kindness and a crimson fierce defiance, a green slow growing hopefulness that defied the silence. You showed me love is not one shade, it's the breaking and the bending, and the beautiful, surprising, blinding rainbow of the mending. Maybe the strongest love isn't the one that never fractures, but the one that when it splinters reveals its hidden architectures, the secret waiting colors only pressure can release, a dazzling, deep and perfect, complicated masterpiece. So let the white light shatter, let the crystal facets form, in the quiet after chaos something brighter, warmer is born. become. My multicolored, breathtaking and stunning one. They said some folks see grayscale, a world of black and white, a practical and steady, unemotional light. But since the day I met you, my lens could not stay still. The world began to saturate against my sober will. The grass wasn't just green, it was 1,000 emerald hues. The morning sky a gradient of impossible blues. My cautious monochrome life so carefully composed, in your presence quietly and completely transposed into a technicolor heart, a vibrant singing beat, where every shade is brighter and every feeling deep and sweet. You turn my gray to gold rush, my beige to burgundy, unlocked a spectrum in my soul that only you could see. It's not a flaw, it's not too much, it's how I'm meant to be, alive and overflowing in brilliant clarity, with a technicolor heart in a faded, washed out town. You taught my eyes to see the world and never let it down. A fight is not just anger, it's a flash of crimson fear, then the cooling, gentle periwinkle of a reconciling tear. Your laughter isn't merely sound, it's tangerine and bright, a splash of purest cadmium yellow in the evening light. And sadness has its color too, a deep and royal blue, a necessary contrast that makes the other colors true. You didn't shy You taught me that the brightest love will never fade to gray. Technicolor heart still beating bold and true, in every vibrant, aching, glorious shade of you and me. A masterpiece in progress for the whole wide world to see. In your presence quietly and completely transposed, the guitar simplifies to a single. The clock glows 3:07, a ghostly digital blue. The ceiling's just a movie screen for everything I can undo. Your words are on a loop inside the tempo of my blood, a pounding frantic cadence in the quiet of the flood that rises in the darkness. So I lace my worn out shoes and trade the static prison for the city's nightly news. The door clicks shut behind me like a promise or a threat to outrun the tomorrow full of things I can't forget. I'm just a midnight runner with a head full of your sound, chasing down the peace I know will never can be found. In the burning of my lungs, in the slap of my own feet, I'm trying to create a rhythm that is honest, raw and sweet. The streetlights are my witnesses, the pavement takes my pain. I run until the memory is just a pounding in the rain. A midnight runner fleeing from the ghost of us I keep. But the faster that I run, girl, the deeper that it seeps. Diner where we split a piece of pie. Push my legs to screaming, but I cannot pass it by. The park bench where you told me with a tremor in your voice. I feel my own heart stutter, I have no other choice but to run, to turn the corner, to let the cold night air turn the sweat to something holy, a temporary prayer that I might shed the skin of who I was when you were near and become someone unfinished, someone simple, someone clear. I'm just a midnight runner with a head full of your sound, chasing down the peace I know will never can be found. In the burning of my lungs, in the slap of my own feet, I'm trying to create a rhythm that is honest, raw and sweet. The streetlights are my witnesses, the pavement takes my pain. I run until the memory is just a pounding in the rain. A midnight runner fleeing from the ghost of us I keep. But the faster that I run, girl, the deeper that it seeps. And maybe one night I'll stop running and I'll turn to face the street and let the silence catch me, let the trembling be complete. To understand the chase itself is where I hold you tight, that you're the reason for the run, the shadow in the night. Not something to escape from, but the fuel, the very spark that taught my heavy heart again how to beat in the dark. Midnight runner, just a heartbeat and a choice in the stillness I now make. You hated the pose, the forced cheesy grin, said it stole the real moment we were actually in. But I was the archivist, the keeper of the proof, holding up the camera to the messy moving truth of birthday cake on faces, of sunsets going fast, of sleepy Sunday mornings that were never meant to last. I'd say wait, just one more, and you'd groan and comply, a flicker of annoyance in your otherwise soft eye. Now it's just flash photography, a burst of frozen light, a blinding bright suspension of a never-ending night. I've got 1,000 paper squares of how we used to be, a museum of the moments you now maybe can't even see. The after image burns my eyes in color sharp and cruel, a perfect still reflection of the love we thought was foolproof. I'm developing a past I can't return into, just flash photography of me and you. I found a box of photos underneath my bed, a timeline of our ending in my hands unsaid. Here's us at the lake, your hair a wild frame. Here's the Christmas where the fire forgot to catch the flame in your eyes. Here's the last one at the airport gate before, a half hug and a smile that doesn't reach the core. The flash caught every detail, the fear, the love, the strain, a permanent record of the evaporating rain. Now it's just flash photography, a burst of frozen light, a blinding bright suspension of a never-ending night. I've got 1,000 paper squares of how we used to be, a museum of the moments you now maybe can't even see. The after image burns my eyes in color sharp and cruel, a perfect still reflection of the love we thought was foolproof. I'm developing a past I can't return into, just flash photography of me and you. Maybe you were right, maybe the lens does lie. It captures just the surface, not the current running by. Beneath the smile it holds the shape, but not the living heat. The sound, the smell, the feeling of two souls who felt complete for just that single silent stolen chemical blink. finally free to fade as they were meant to, into gentle kind of blue. Not a flash, just the slow forgiving dark coming true. Tell me it was over, handing me the facts with sympathetic voices and well-meaning practiced acts. They said to pack your things, to close the heavy door, to learn to walk on solid, unforgiving floor. That no one gave a manual for after you had gone, for how a body functions when its center is withdrawn. I feel don't touch the pavement, my hands can't grip the rail. And drifting through the rooms we built, a ghost without a tail. And zero gravity in your silent, spacious sake, where every memory's an astronaut I cannot shake. A coffee cup just floats there, a book you left behind, suspended in the nowhere. In the corners of my mind I try to find a foothold, I reach for any wall, but I just spin in slow-mo at the mercy of the fall that isn't even falling. It's a never-ending float in the vast and empty capsule of the love we once wrote. I dream in vivid floating of your hand not holding mine, of watching from a distance as the stars refuse to align. And in the waking hours, the ordinary tasks become a careful mission in unyielding, soundless masks. To make the toast, to answer calls, to breathe the too thick air, to pretend I am not weightless with this nothingness to bear, where tears don't even travel, they just gather in a sphere, a perfect lonely planet of every unshed year. And zero gravity in the silent, spacious sake, where every memory is an astronaut I cannot shake. A coffee cup just floats there, a book you left behind, suspended in the nowhere. In the corners of my mind I try to find a foothold, I reach for any wall, but I just spin in slow-mo at the mercy of the fall that isn't even falling. It's a never-ending float in the vast and empty capsule of the love we once wrote. Maybe this is just the interim, the dark side of the moon, before the gentle tell of some new distant warming moon. I pull, I cannot feel yet a gravity so slight. It's just a fear you whispered in the endless starless night. But even astronauts come home, their capsules kiss the sea, and learn to stand on shaking legs, and learn what it means to be grounded. Zero gravity. I'm learning how to be just here, and maybe here is where my new world will appear. A gentle chord, a slow returning low towards solid ground and sound. The quiet in this house has got a different, deeper tone. Since you took your laughter and your solid presence home. It's not the lack of sound, it's that the sounds don't travel right. They get swallowed by the space you left in the middle of the night. I speak and wait for answer, but the answer never comes. Just the hollow resonance of what my lonely voice becomes. A fading vibration in the unfamiliar air. A question sent out blindly into silence, into care. So I'm learning echolocation in the darkness of this room, mapping out the emptiness, the newly vacant gloom. I send a little signal out, a sigh, a shifted chair, and listen for the shape of where you're not, but once we're there. The echo takes its time, it bounces off the walls we built, returning softer, fainter, laid with a tender guilt. For all the noise I made when you were here within my reach, now I'd give the world for just the quiet sound of your speech. In the echo. Ooh. cave with sound can build a world from what returns, from what is lost and found. Maybe this is my new skill, my sad and strange defense, to build a memory of you from the sonic evidence. Not to find you, but to finally and gently understand the permanent and silent contours of this hollow land. Echolocation, until the echoes start to blend into a softer, kinder understanding in the end, that some spaces are meant to stay unfilled, and the quiet is not emptiness, but a landscape gently stilled, a single final solid note that doesn't need to find a shore anymore. I was a steady 60 watts, a safe and useful glow, reading by the lamplight, staying in the lines. I know you were a live wire, dancing in a summer storm, a beautiful and terrifying, perfect, thrilling form. You crashed into my calm world with a grin and a dare. Your touch was a shockwave, a jolt in the heavy air. You talked in crackling sentences, you moved like summer light, and suddenly my quiet life felt dim and wrong and right. You're high voltage, you're the current I can't tame, a beautiful, disastrous, sweet electric flame. You light me up from the inside, make my whole world sing, a dangerous and gorgeous, living, buzzing thing. You burn away the shadows with a brilliant, blinding spark, but leave a tender aftermath, a permanent, bright mark on circuits never used before, on pathways raw and new. This high voltage love, it's running me right through. We fight in crackling syllables, in flashes sharp and bright, then make up in the fallout. In the soft, surrendered night, you bring me to the edge of cliffs. You make my spirit soar, then catch me with a quiet word I've never heard before. You're unpredictable and wild, a storm I can't control, but in your wild, erratic charge, you're making my heart whole. You've rewired my defenses, crossed every cautious line, and fused your unpredictable, bright currents into mine. You're high voltage, you're the current I can't tame, a beautiful, disastrous, sweet electric flame. You light me up from the inside, make my whole world sing, a dangerous and gorgeous, living, buzzing thing. You burn away the shadows with a brilliant, blinding spark, but leave a tender aftermath, a permanent, bright mark on circuits never used before, on pathways raw and new. This high voltage love, it's running me right through. sophisticated stream, but a power surge that shatters a self-contained old dream. A brilliant, terrifying arc across an empty, waiting sky that teaches you what it truly means to feel alive. To be a little dangerous, a little bit ungrounded, in a field of pure potential where true connection's founded.